Technical analysis on AMC? Is it possible? Can you even figure out which way this stock is going to go? Today we're talking about AMC once again, the technical analysis of it and what I'm looking at if I'm going to be buying the dip here on AMC. Talking about it right here in this video. So let's go. What's popping off, guys? Patrick here. Today we're taking a look at the AMC chart once again. Like I said on, was it Sunday or Saturday when I talked about AMC? At this point, I still believe that AMC will go lower, but then there's going to be a big, massive point of consolidation. And then once all the hope and all the dreams and all the prayers are finally gone, that is when AMC could possibly go to the moon. So we're going to take a look at the chart and talk a little bit more about the technicals here on the chart and what we should be looking for and all of that fun stuff. All right, so here's the chart on AMC. We're looking at the daily chart right now, but what I want to point out here is on the monthly chart. I think the monthly chart shows a pretty good picture of what we are looking at in terms of the price action and the overall movement of the stock. So right now on the monthly chart, you can see the volume basically consolidating. Obviously, we just started this new month, so the volume is going to be much lower. And I know people are going to comment below about the dark pools and the manipulation and things like that. But I got to also understand that sometimes the manipulation and the dark pools, as much as people believe that it's holding the price down or think they're going to crash the stock, you also got to kind of think about like which way this is going to go and where it would go. And if big money wants AMC to go to the moon, at what point would that happen? Now, I believe that big money or smart money is not going to be buying AMC at the $50 level to go to the moon. They're going to be buying it, down here, loading up on the consolidation area. Smart money doesn't chase. And I've talked about that in, other videos before as well. At the end of the day, big smart money is going to play into the market sentiment, the overall market moves, and then look for opportunity. And obviously, like I said before, manipulation, they're going to manipulate the stock for the point of, number one, trying to get people to sell so they can buy at a lower price. And then they're also thinking about the overall mental and the emotional idea of this trade as well. Right now, we are at the 36.93 level. Yesterday, or I guess last month in September, you can see the stock basically closed at the low down here at the $38 level. We had a pretty good range up there to the 52. It pulls back, but in general, it's kind of like just in the middle there, right? Like the overall opening and the closing between that $37 area and that $47 area. So you got about a $10 move in that month. But overall, the stock obviously closed at the bottom of that range, and I would say that's bearish for the short term here. But looking at the chart here on the monthly chart, you can see the EMA is kind of all lining up and the idea of that $30 level as support. What I would expect from here or from a technical analysis standpoint, and at the end of the day, guys, tomorrow it might go to $70 at the end of the day because we already talked about how manipulated this is and how controlled it is. So at some point, if the shorts or the big hedge funds want to let this run, they want to finally be like, all right, it's time to rock and roll. If that point comes, it could just take off and make that big, massive move that people are expecting. But in general, looking at this, I think obviously that the consolidation, pretty much buying anywhere from this $30 to $40 level for the impending squeeze is going to be a much better plan than, chasing it up here at the $50 or $60 level. Because if you're buying here at the $30 level, we've already seen, multiple times how that $30 level is holding that $30 level. It bounced off here the other day. It rallied back to 52. And then we've basically been kind of consolidating at that level once again here. So the big question now is, do we consolidate basically like this? Do we go sideways here off that $32 level? And that's what I would believe would make most sense from a trading standpoint and a overall emotional standpoint here, that AMC gets back down here to the $32 level, right? We kind of consolidate, kind of go bouncy, kind of, I would say like this. We're like deep, and then, maybe a little, maybe this goes a little bit higher, like up to there again, kind of up into that $50 level. It then kind of does this again. And then finally, at some point, it gets tighter and tighter here on this overall trend, kind of like that. You get tighter and tighter, and then finally it's like, okay, that $40 level, if it holds, then, you know, we would obviously kind of get tight like that again. And then once we finally consolidate, then there's that big, massive move, and the apes will win the battle. But that's putting us, you know, almost into December at the end of the year here of 2021. And that would make, I think that makes a lot of technical analysis sense, that this thing kind of pushes down here, consolidates, pushes back up. And you got to understand, like the other day when we had that big spike, it allows the shorts to create volume. It allows the market makers to sell those options. And at the end of the day, people are buying options, they're selling options, they're trying to capitalize off the movement here on the stock. But the market makers are playing it like a fiddle right now. And you can see today we're down there to the 36.86 area. And what's interesting as well is if you look at this big move the other day, you had that big spike up right into all of that resistance, right into that overall downtrend there. It looks like it's going to break out, but I would say that was basically a bull trap at that point. And we talked about that as well, you know, the manipulation and all of that, as, you know, pretty much the moral of the story here is that I don't believe that they're going to easily allow this to just squeeze to the moon, because they're going to lose money. So they're going to try everything they can, manipulate it, hold it down, do whatever they got to do, dark pools, whatever idea, FTDs, synthetic shares, all these things, keep the price down here at this level. At some point, they believe that the apes will get bored. The apes won't want to buy anymore. The apes are going to get over it. And this consolidation pattern will continue until finally it just gets so tight that this $30 level where everybody's just buying and buying and buying, that $30 level, it's like every time we bounce off there, we get that nice little bounce back. But overall, if I'm going to be buying AMC, which I'm looking to be buying AMC over the next few weeks or the months, I think I'm totally fine not rushing into buying a ton of AMC right now, because I believe that I still can get a better price down here at the $30 level. And, you know, like I said, I could be totally wrong here. Tomorrow it could go to $70. We've seen, you know, every time I make a video, it basically just makes some insane move after. I don't know why, but the AMC gods they don't want me to ever be right here. But in general, I still believe that as much as I've been wrong about these, you know, short-term quick movements, the price of the direction, the overall momentum is still heading in that direction of wanting to get down here to the $30 level. And, you know, I don't think anyone along a bull or bear can argue the fact that right now, you know, we have not pushed above all-time highs. The volume, you know, just has not really been impressive as well. The volume, we had one little spike in volume here on this big move, but in general, the volume just has been kind of draining out. The idea here is that, you know, a lot of the apes have loaded up. They're holding their positions. They're going to hold diamond hand holding, and I get that. But at the same time, there's got to be momentum. There's got to be volume to get this moving, to get the shorts to get squeezed. So I fully believe, as a trader, as a personal, you know, my personal belief here is that AMC will end up looking like this in the end. It'll basically, you know, we spike up here again, we pull back, we spike up again. Every little spike, it's going to sucker in people to buy either options or buy call options, buy puts. It's going to get people to chase it. It's going to allow those shorts to either cover their positions or to load up some more. Like if I'm a short and I see this overall pattern, I'm totally fine. I can short off of this trend line, hoping that this one day breaks below 30. And I talked about this before as well. If we can hold 30, well then 15 really is right there. And it's not about me thinking that AMC is going to 0 or it's going to 15 or anything like that. But if you really, if you look at the bigger picture here, like look at this, it kind of just works out. And I know, you can draw lines on the chart all you want, and you can make up these scenarios and technical analysis. I understand how that works. But the idea here is, what if it goes like this? If we break below 30, well, then it's kind of like, okay, now we kind of move down here and then kind of bounce back up. Okay, we're bouncing back up. We're going to the moon. Nope, just kidding. And then, into 2022, we kind of get that move like that. So those are I think these are two very plausible scenarios here for this move. We got that $30 level as support right now, and AMC being very, very important to hold. but I believe that the $30 level will be touched once again. Today, we're at 36.81. The stock is down about 5% on the day. We had that big rally last Thursday. The shorts getting covered or whatever you want to say it. But this really, I believe, like, at the end of the day, I've been wrong 100%. But I don't think I can be wrong here at this point because it's pretty much just the idea of how markets move. We get these wave formations, like even this big, huge push to the upside here on the squeeze. You can still see that it rolled over and created that wave overall, that wave formation. So as much as people believe that technical analysis does not work, I still believe that the overall mental and the emotional battle, technical analysis will kind of chart out like this in the end. And we really have no idea. Like I said, we're just basically looking at a chart and understanding where those key levels are, what we should be looking at and what we should be watching. And this really, at the end of the day, like this, I believe, will be the MOAS up here when we get through this level. This consolidation, the tighter and tighter that this thing gets, that it just gets so tight to the point that the shorts just finally are like, okay, the more and more that this holds this level, that $30 level, getting stuck here at the 40, getting stuck at 45, that's just what the shorts want to happen because they want this to continue to go lower and kind of just bleed out over time because they know that they can't just break this down. They know that they can't just hammer it down in one day because the apes are going to step in there and they're going to buy. And that's going to basically ruin the idea of trying to hammer this down, really quickly. So more so, it's about them trying to basically manipulate the stock to the point that they can slowly bleed it out. But the problem is once we get to that point where it's so tight, where it's finally like, okay, the shorts, the bulls, the bears are in line. And I believe, that line kind of comes here at the end of the year when we get so tight off of that support level and we consolidate for so long that something has to break. It's either going to be a massive move to the upside or it's going to be a massive move to the downside. But I do believe that in general, the technical analysis charting this out basically leads us to one outcome, and that is a big move coming by the end of the year. I think this $30 level, I just don't believe it's going to break, anytime soon. But I've been wrong before. But in general, it just seemed like the support, the buyers are stepping in there and giving it a lot of support there at the $30 level. So for me, I'm totally fine buying AMC around that $30 level and then watching that $30 level. If we break below 30, then I would believe that 15 would be kind of the next target, that $16 to $15 level. But it's not to say that the battle is over at that point by any means. It's not to say that this is over and the end is coming. It's more so that this could really give us the best possible entry at this point in time. Obviously the people who were bought at the $8 to $10 level, congratulations, you're killing it, amazing. But for people who are looking to kind of capitalize off of the MOAS, the big move to come, holding for this $30 break, that $30 hold, or that consistency, that consolidation of that $30 level for that big move to come makes the most sense. So we will see what happens. And at the end of the day, only time will tell, my friends. Only time will tell. So there's two very possible scenarios. Long term, I believe that there will be a point where it just gets so tight that the bears and the bulls have to do something. You're going to get a big, massive move. And I don't believe it's going to be a big, massive move to the downside because of just the overall sentiment and the idea that people are going to just keep buying and buying these shares even when, it's going down. And that's impressive to say the least. And we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, we're going to kind of have to see what happens. But I feel like I've kind of covered the bases pretty well here. So at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. $33 to $30 is a very key support level. If we can't hold there, then 15 would be kind of that next target of buying the dip. If we keep holding this $30 to $40 level, well, then it's kind of like this. I think that pattern just kind of plays out just like this. And then finally, once it gets so tight here, like right there, once it gets so tight, that's when the MOAS begins. So there it is. That's my technical analysis breakdown here on AMC. Let's see what happens. We'll kind of keep an eye on it this week, but there should be some pretty good price action and some good movements here as we go. So if you guys haven't already, do me one big favor, hit that like button, subscribe button, all the buttons down below. Let's go.